Yeah, hey friends. This episode, I'm going to talk about why you should not get married. Don't get married, all right? Unless you do a couple things. I get asked this a lot, and I'm having a really great experience as a married guy, as a husband. And I see a lot of carnage out there and a lot of people not having a good experience. So I wanted to record this short episode to underline a couple important points. So why, when people ask me, should I get married or what do you think about marriage? I say, don't do it. But I add a disclaimer, an asterisk at the end, and I say, unless, basically the punchline here is unless you're willing to do the work, right? But let me get specific, okay? And I posted this on social recently, and people seem to respond strongly about this post I did. So there's, I was that guy, as you've heard probably me say before, that had no interest in marriage and had no interest in kids. No way. I was like, that looks dumb, and I don't get why people do this. I didn't really see anyone rocking it, and I felt like I could kind of see through the bullshit a little bit. And I don't know that I ever met like a really deeply inspiring couple. I met plenty of people who look like, okay, we're married and we're friends. But that's just kind of all it looked. It looked a little flat and stale to me over the years. And, you hear the stats, 50% of marriages end in divorce. And it seems like that's still kind of the statistic that gets thrown around. And it seems like that's my experience. When I look around my friend group or the students I have or other people, I'm like, yeah, it seems like about half don't make it. And what people don't talk about, though, is what happens to the people that stay married. Let's not call that success. Just because you stay married, that doesn't mean it's successful. It doesn't mean you're fulfilled. It doesn't mean you're in a secure, strong partnership. It kind of doesn't mean shit, except that you are staying together. Now, some people can stay together and they become roommates, but it kind of works, right? It kind of works that they just live together, they divide and conquer with the kids or after the kids are out of the house or whatever, and they have, hobbies and they do stuff together, but they don't look fulfilled. They don't look like they're in love anymore. They don't look like they're respecting each other and really truly have each other's backs. It looks like, if one of them gets sick, the other person will show up. And so that's a certain kind of relationship, and that's okay, all right? It's not the relationship I want, but it is doable. And some people would rather be in that kind of relationship than be alone, especially as they age. And that's very understandable, right? Because one of our greatest fears is to be alone and to be rejected, abandoned, and to kind of just be cast out and just on our own in our little apartment. And we never connect with anyone and we're lonely. And I think all of us know by now that loneliness kills, and people they don't live as long when they're alone and living in loneliness. We did an interview with the woman who did that study that said loneliness is more lethal than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That's an episode on loneliness if you want to Google that. Jayson Gaddis, loneliness podcast episode. So we can just kind of stay together and that's fine, but I don't think that's success personally. So what I say is don't get married unless you do these three things. All right. Number one is you've got to both learn. And that just means you learn about you and yourself. You learn about them and how they're wired and their history. And you just have a student kind of learning growth mindset. And a lot is possible when you're willing to learn. Like a lot is possible. Super cool. Okay, so learn. I think you're going to have a better experience. Number 2, embrace conflict and adversity and challenge between the two of you. Yeah, embrace conflict. Because, as I often say, conflict is going to happen. It's inevitable. Challenges will come up, differences between the two of you. And if you're a no to that experience, you're not going to make it. And you might have found yourself with a partner who you're willing, because you're listening to this podcast, and they're not, which is absurd to me that they wouldn't be open to learning and willing to work through the conflict. Some people are incredibly dense in their consciousness, and they're very resistant because there's a tremendous amount of shame or conditioning or self-protection that says, no, like if I learn about myself, or if I grow here, if I actually like look in the mirror and I admit I have problems, that's somehow annihilatory. It's devastating. So some people just, I don't know, they don't want to look there. All right. They don't want to open that door. So you're kind of screwed. And this is why I'm saying don't get married with two people like that, because it's going to be infuriating at a certain point. It's going to be so lonely to be with someone who's completely resistant, shut down, and will not do the work. That is a bummer, right? That's just like painful. And I see people stay in those kind of relationships for a long time, partly because that's the water they were swimming in growing up and that they don't know any better. Yeah. So embrace conflict, please, because that will lead you to more fulfillment and success in your intimate partnership over time. And number 3, you've got to share leadership and learn how to collaborate with another person. And you've heard the term that just be a team, use teamwork and like figure things out together. And some couples do a really good job of this with logistics. They kind of divide and conquer and they're like a team with that. But in their intimate relationship, they're a disaster. They don't know how to have each other's backs while they're triggered by each other. They don't know how to be good to each other and respect each other when they're triggering and upsetting one another. That's also a huge bummer. So we've got to learn how to share leadership and collaborate. And I always tell people like, look, if you don't want to do this, don't. Go be single forever. Because collaboration is way harder than living on your own, living by yourself and doing whatever the fuck you want to do. It's easier, right? Relationship, sharing leadership, collaborating, moving in, sharing finances, sharing children, sharing pets, sharing cleaning the house, sharing things, and sharing ideas and where do we want to go and what do we want to do with our life. That is complicated. It's complicated. It feels easy in the first year or two when you're, quote, falling in love and infatuated. It feels easy. Over time, it's hard until you figure it out. I like to say there's 7 stages of a long-term relationship. And in the middle there is the conflict challenging stage. And if couples can figure that out and learn how to work through that, their chances are they're going to build security and strength over time. It's not the absence of challenge that builds strength and security. It's adversity, just like going to the gym, right? When I go lift weights now, what builds muscle is stress, putting weight on my muscles and resisting, right? Resistance training. That's the whole term. Resistance training is what builds strength and endurance and power, etc. That's so straightforward to me. But a lot of people will naively get married, not even thinking like this. And again, it's understandable because we're not taught this shit in school and we're just sort of expected to kind of intuitively know how to do this stuff. And that's relationship failure, right? Is the path there if you're not willing here or able to learn, etc. Okay, so number 3 is share leadership and collaborate. And you can do that with your friends. You could do that, with your coworkers probably fairly well. But move in with anyone, make the stakes way higher by adding children or a mortgage or debt or health problems where you're like, oh shit, now I'm like stuck with this person. how do I share and collaborate and be a team with this person that's really upsetting me? How do I do that? And it's fairly straightforward if you have a willing person who's willing to learn, right? It's extremely difficult if you don't. So to repeat, do not get married unless both people are willing to learn and grow, right? Embrace conflict, challenge and adversity, and collaborate and be a team. Then, hell yes, marriage is amazing. I personally love being married. It's changed and transformed my life completely, obviously, because I teach about this stuff now. I want to share this with the world because I'm having a great experience. And it is not always easy over here. As we talk about when Ellen's on, it's not easy for us always. It's not like, oh, this is so intuitive and we just got over naturals. No, we both had and have plenty of issues that get in the way of being an awesome team. But the difference is we are very committed to having each other's backs, working through it, taking responsibility for our part, becoming better and better communicators, learning how to be better collaborators, right? That's like for the rest of our lives, we're going to be in that conversation. And so because we do that, I'm having a really good experience, and I think Ellen is too. And our kids get to witness that every single day. Their mom and dad hugging in the kitchen, making out, being affectionate, and really prioritizing each other and the relationship. Yeah. Okay, folks, thanks for listening. And please, if you get value here, obviously, leave us a review on iTunes. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, rather. You can follow me on any of the social channels at Jayson Gaddis. YouTube and Instagram are where I'm most active right now. And be well. Take good care of yourselves. Hey, y'all. I hope you have ordered my new book by now, Getting to Zero, How to Work Through Conflict in Your High-Stakes Relationships. It's already getting dozens of 5-star reviews on Amazon. I've heard from a lot of you. Thank you for buying the book, buying it on Audible, buying it on Kindle. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate the support. I think this book is going to help a lot of people. It's all about how do we get back to a good place after some kind of disconnection or rupture or conflict. That's what the entire book is about. And if you want a roadmap on how to get back to a good place, what I call zero, please order my book. GettingToZeroBook.com. Get you some extra goodies, a conflict quiz, some additional PDFs, etc. And you can order it in all the places and support your local bookstores. Hey, if you want to get the latest training live and to ask me a question, go to relationshipschool.com/masterclass. I do these frequently on subjects ranging from attachment styles to boundaries, codependency, conflict, how to get to zero, etc. Would love to see you there.